Hi Mary, how are you?
I'm good, how are you?
I am good. It's not too early here. It's only 9 a.m, so I can't really complain about being early morning. Although we were just talking off camera about the fact that I have been awake since 5:35.
Okay.
Yes,
Have
very
not.
rock and roll.
I have not, and it's early evening here, so I bet you miss England now.
Whereabouts do you live?
I live in Brighton.
Oh, I love Brighton. Brighton's beautiful.
I mean, it's great. It's heavenly.
Yeah.
I only moved here last year. I lived in Bristol before that.
Which is also another great music city.
Also heavenly. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I know. I choose good places. I went to university in Bristol, and then stayed there for like almost 10 years, and then changed it up a bit.
So we had fun at Thomann, didn't we? It was had you been to Thomann before?
Yeah, I was there the year before.
Oh, so you already had an inkling.
Yeah.
I had no idea. This was my first time.
It was pretty great. This year was
amazing.
like they'd ironed out some kinks, and it was just spectacular. It was a great, really, really fun week.
I love, Glenn had said to me, because he'd been the year before, he's like, yeah, it's really amazing, but the accommodation, it just wasn't good and blah, blah. So I warned Karsh, I was like, I hear that we'll probably be sleeping on like, bunk beds or something like that. And then we get there and we're in a castle.
I know. They definitely upgraded the hotel this year. And
Just
it was
a little
also
bit.
so much nearer. It was so much nearer. And I think, last year they wanted us to be in Bamberg in the town centre so that we had fun things to do in the evening. But really, You're so tired after filming all day, and then you probably have to edit anyway. So, this year was great. I hope it happens again next year.
Yeah, fingers crossed. It was absolutely amazing. It really, first of all, yeah, you're right about Bamberg. Bamberg, it may not be that close, but what a beautiful city. We did go out there one night.
Yeah.
So gorgeous.
I know.
Yeah, and I had an amazing time everywhere. I think I don't think I've ever been treated that well by anybody. They were so nice to everybody, and they looked after us so well. I got hats off. Hey Thomann people, thank you.
Hey Thomann, please invite us back next year. We love you.
Yeah, exactly.
That's basically what we're saying.
So look, I got that guitar that you played. I got it.
Oh, you got it. Awesome.
Yes. So after you played it, I did a video with Phil McKnight on it, and we both absolutely loved it because it's the quote-unquote affordable American-made Paul Reed Smith. It's absolutely gorgeous. And I always love F-hole guitars.
Me too.
So that was a fun song. I think probably for some context, I think we should be telling people, I think we probably spent about 45 minutes on it from the time we walked in, maybe even a little bit less because they couldn't quite, we had to get things going and figure out, because that wasn't a studio, that was the showroom, where they were recording. And hats off to them, obviously the recording guy at Thomann did an amazing job, but I think we probably had about 45 minutes, total. Maybe a little less.
Maybe
because
a
it was
little
an
less.
hour. Because we had an hour off to do it.
Well, I think it was 2 hours we put aside.
Oh, was it 2 hours? You have a better memory than me.
Well, the first hour was, was just kind of setting up and making sure that everything worked, and then kind of going through with everyone the song that they hadn't heard. And I'd only just written it as well, so it was on my mind, but it was good just to run through a few things, and then we just started recording. And yeah, I mean, I'm excited for the vlog as well.
So you did some stuff with Lee
Anderson.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I used to work at Anderton's when I was a kid. I've known Lee since I was this big.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did a few videos for them 2 years ago. That was like my big push on the channel. They were so kind to invite me in when they didn't know me. And then, I just returned, a little reunion just for a few fun videos. Yeah.
I just called up your channel here because I was like looking at the Lee one the other day, and I'd forgotten that you've done 2 now. That's absolutely amazing. Yeah.
Well, I've done quite a few different like product videos back in 2017.
Right.
But the Captain Meets will be the second one that I've done, which will come out, I guess, pretty soon.
Marvelous. And then what do you think of this digital guitar? Because I saw this in Nashville.
Yeah. I think it still has, and I speak about it in the review, I'm like, it still has kinks to iron out. Like, it's still not quite like playing a guitar to the touch. in terms of what it can do. But I had a lot of fun with it and making a track with it where I'm not going to play a MIDI keyboard. I'm never going to be drawn to that. Whereas I'm drawn to that, and working on a lo-fi album that I don't know when I'm ever going to get it finished, but I would just use that predominantly. Yeah.
A lo-fi album. That sounds fun.
Yeah. Just like background music, just like instrumental.
Beautiful.
Just another challenge I want to set myself amongst all the other things I've got going on.
Well, if you're not doing 1,000 things, you're doing nothing. That's how I feel.
Yeah, that's very, very true. It's a good way of thinking about it.
Sometimes I'll meet somebody for the first time, or and they'll ask me what I'm working on, and I'll start talking about a couple of things, and I'll say, oh, I'm mixing this record, and then I'm producing that. And then I have to film this video, and then I'm going to go and interview this guy, and then I'm going to, and I have this online business where and they're all like, what?
Yeah.
I don't know. I suppose I grew up with the idea that the other shoe is going to drop. So if you don't really sort of like, you're not always moving forward and creating and growing as a human being, then you're pretty much like.
I mean, that's not a bad trait to have. I think that's the best thing. Yeah, keeps you evolving.
So can you tell me a little bit about yourself?
Grew up in Salisbury.
Oh, you know what? You told me this in Germany, because I remember Salisbury. I mean, as a kid, I remember going to Stonehenge and driving through Salisbury, and that whole area is absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, I was just back this weekend really briefly, and every time I see the cathedral, my mind is blown. And I went to Salisbury Cathedral School, and then went to secondary school around that town, and then then went to university in Bristol, studied classical music as a viola player though, not as a guitarist. And then, but I was always singer-songwriting since 15. That was like my little escapism. And then, just started gigging a lot of gigs, a lot of pub gigs, wedding gigs, all that stuff. And then it got to a point where I was capped at, what I was doing, how much I was earning. And then YouTube, I was watching YouTube. So I stumbled across all the music community, obviously, your videos, Rob Scallon's videos, Rob Chapman, Anderton's, all those guys, and just suddenly was like, whoa, okay, this is a thing. People are doing this. They're growing audiences that way. And then started YouTube September 2016 properly. I'd had my account since 2006. Just uploading sporadic music videos here and there. But then 2016 started the Tuesday Talks show. And then, now it's doing all right.
It's fantastic. I love what you do. Outside of your YouTube channel, what other stuff do you do? Obviously, you're an artist, you put up music. Do you have a Patreon? Tell me a little bit more about sort of what you do outside of YouTube.
I run Patreon. I've got a podcast now. Just trying to be all places all the time. YouTube is the main driving force behind everything else. But trying to position myself as an actual recording artist. So released a record this week. I'm releasing it separately, 6 tracks over the next 2.5 months on streaming services. But if people want to buy the full EP and support me in the traditional sense in terms of buying a physical copy, then it was available from my website. It's quite overwhelming. At the BBC event, I had a lot of teenagers come up to me, which if I look at my analytics, I don't really see now the audience is growing. I'm realizing that there are more and more teenagers watching and learning and picking up guitars or singing and singer-songwriting. It's just mind-blowing when they come up to you and they're just like, so how do I do this? Or, how did you do this? It's really lovely. And then, just giving them honest opinion of like, if you want to be a singer-songwriter now, there's a lot you can do by yourself. So don't fall in the traps of contracts and all that sort of stuff. But NAMM this year was the turning point, because up till NAMM, I had a day job working for Shure microphones. So I was doing global content marketing for them. And then, the YouTube channel hit 100K just after. And so I handed in my notice and left Shure with their blessing and on such good terms. And then just have been pursuing YouTube and all the content, all the music ever since.
Oh, that's amazing. I didn't know you were working at Shaw.
Yeah, I was there for 18 months.
Oh, fantastic.
But they found me through YouTube. And then when I had a very small following, had just been on Anderton's, they said, can you do that for us? So did some content and some marketing for them for 18 months. And then luckily I'd been able, they, I realized I was in a really privileged position to be able to keep up the YouTube channel in my own right, separately. So kept that going, was working 24/7 for a while. And then, it got to that point where I was like, oh, because of Patreon and because of other income streams, I could just go full time. So,
That's amazing. Well, congratulations. You deserve it.
Thank you.
I'm excited to see you at NAMM and do some recording with you.
Yeah, absolutely.
What can we achieve in one day?
I think we could do quite a lot in one day.
I think if we can send MP3s backwards and forwards of some song ideas, even if we just got like acoustic guitar or electric guitar vocals down in one day, we could then go in and do like overdubs with different musicians. Jamie, I thought, did a wonderful job on bass on the track.
Yeah.
Talking about the track, everybody. Hey, how about that?
Yeah.
Jamie did an amazing job, and he's local, and I'm actually bringing him in on a different session.
Yes.
And so I want to start using him. He's such a sweet guy. So yeah, we could do some stuff. If we did that, it'd be really fun. We could come in predominant and do the vocals and acoustics or vocals electrics, the basics, and then have different people like do overdubs on it, either independently or I could bring them here and do it.
Yeah.
That'd be fun.
That would be fun.
So sort of a collab times whatever. I'm sounding like, I said collab.
Hashtag influencer.
Oh, ouch. Ay, caramba. I went to the producers and engineers party, the P&E Grammy party last year, which I've been to on and off for many, many years. And there was a guy there, I don't know who it was, a German guy. And he came up to me and goes, oh, there's another YouTuber here. And I was just like, oh my God. I just didn't realize it. It was like, I suppose I'm a YouTuber.
Yeah, you use it as a tool. It's just like anything. You use it as a tool to reach people. Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, it can be seen as a dirty word, but whatever. Kids are aspiring to be YouTubers now, so it's not such a bad thing.
No, it's not at all. I think as long as the message is positive and we're helping people, who the heck cares,
Yeah, exactly. That's what I try and tell myself and tell others. It's just like, remain positive. We're in a very luxurious position. And, just even if we just give a little bit of insight that makes someone's day, that's like the most important thing.
So tell me a little bit about the song. You had just written it when we recorded it? How close?
I mean, it must have been that month. It was very, 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 very new. And yeah, it was just it was kind of like a hopeful song, having your heart broken and just hoping someone better will come along. Very simple. It's just like, it turned out to be a really fun, catchy song. Thanks to you and thanks to the boys. It was really great, and it was a nice challenge, actually. I really enjoyed the challenge of like having to perform, having just to stand up, just perform, just get the take. I think the video will come out really nicely. Everyone,
you and Simon and Jamie were so sort of, that was pretty impromptu to do it in a little, I don't know what to describe it, a showroom, a tiny little showroom. And hats off again to Thomann for pulling it all together. And I hope everybody gets to enjoy working on the tracks and mixing them. And we should have them put them up on SoundCloud. So maybe we can go and check, the mixes. If people do overdubs and stuff like that, would be amazing.
Yeah, they can go to town on it.
What do you want to hashtag it? If they just do Mary Spender Plap, there you go. How about that?
Mary Spender what?
Produce like a pro, PLAP.
Right, yeah, okay. I thought you said Pratt at first.
That would be me.
I'll blame my
Mary
headphones.
Spender and the Pratt.
Yeah, that works. Produce like a pro.
Yeah. So if you can do that, anybody who mixes this and you want us to hear it, you can put it up on YouTube, you can put it on SoundCloud, you can put it in Instagram, you can put it wherever you like. Just put Mary Spender, PLAP for Produce Like a Pro. And if you want to hashtag it TGU19, that actually wouldn't be a bad thing. I'm sure they would appreciate it, seeing as they were so gracious to have us over there. That could be really cool as well. Yeah, hashtag TGU19.
Great.
Fantastic. Well, thank you ever so much for your time. Thanks for your talent. I look forward to seeing you in 2 months.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me. And yeah, I'll see you in January.
So let's get stuck into Mary's song, Someone Better. Okie dokie. So as is normal with me when I'm mixing in the box, I'm going to listen down, set the volumes and the pans and just get a really, really quick rough mix up. So not only are we going to mix this in the box, we're going to mix it on headphones. Also, I don't know if it's in the shot, we are using an Audient ID44. So blue headphones with an Audient ID44 mixed entirely in the box, and we're going to use Avid Pro Tools stock plugins only. So let's have a listen. Now, as you can hear, the drums are recorded pretty low and a little unevenly there on the overheads. So the first thing I'm going to do is, frankly, turn up the right-hand overhead. Now, fortunately, in this version of Pro Tools, and whatever your DAW is, there's clip gain. So I'm just going to grab it and, frankly, just turn it up to what sounds like a similar kind of level. I'm going to pan the overhead left. I'm going to pan the overhead right. And we're going to have a listen to those. So it's fairly even now. You can hear vocal bleed in that. I think the right-hand side can come up a tiny bit more, just a tiny bit more. Okay, great. So now we have fairly even sounding overheads. I'm actually going to group those two together and we're going to listen again. Drums on the whole are pretty quietly recorded. I'm actually tempted, quite frankly, just to do this. I'm just going to take the kick and pull it up a little bit more. I think we're being very cautious in an environment with no time, so we printed it quietly. But the great thing is when you're working in digital with incredibly low signal-to-noise ratio issues, the fact that you can print really nice, clean, low-level signals means that we can just turn these up and not worry too much about bringing up any noise. So now I brought up the kick, the snare, and the overheads. That kick's great. Put in the bass. Guitar. Gonna pan the guitar a little bit to one side. We're up in the vocal. Feel similarly about the vocal here, that can come up. Cautiously printed pretty quietly. Now obviously you don't want it to be too hot, but this is kind of nice.
Some might say I overshare, like a winter lover fair. I was excited.
There's two background vocals, but they're not doing exactly the same part. They're a little bit random, but I kind of like that. Have a listen.
Some might say I overshare, like a winter lover
Really nice BVs.
fair. I was excited. I was wrong. Did you know it wouldn't last long? Someone better come along. Ooh, I'll be waiting. Someone better worthy of a song. I guess I should end this one.
All right, so immediately it comes to life with just some volume adjustments. Now, we were using clip gain because we were trying to get like a even print there. It was done in a hurry, but the performances are good, so it sounds great. There's one little part of that vocal in the end where she doesn't complete it.
I was wrong.
But I like it. See, I like the random. It's up to the artist. She may ask me to mute that first verse background. But we're going to mix it and keep everything there so it's her choice what she wants to take away. So far, I'm enjoying the randomness of it. To me, that's in the spirit of this recording. Okay. I think the first thing we need to do is look at the individual elements of the drums here. Like, here's the kick. One of my recollections about Simon was he played the kick in the verse by laying the beater into the head, so it keeps it short. Have a listen. It's like. Now, if you go to the chorus, he let it bounce back. We did talk about it in the production, but have a listen. So you hear that sustainer, That's because he's letting the beater bounce back. I know I've been talking about this for years, but it's nice to always bring it up so you gain a better understanding as a producer about how to talk to instrumentalists. Specifically here, how the drummer should play the kick drum. Okay. Now the snare is played by hand, and then he goes to sticks or brushes here. There's a lot of really, really nice, intricate stuff going on all the time. Loads of vocal bleed, but it's live in a very small room. So I'm listening to these elements thinking, how am I going to combat this? Well, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to take the snare and I'm going to duplicate it. And those of you that know me well will probably see what I'm about to do. I'm going to grab a compressor. And because we're doing stock, so you can do it on any DAW, we're going to grab a stock compressor. And here it is. So this comes free with your DAW. It's a little flammy between his hand hitting it and the kick, but you know what? That's live. You can hear the benefit we're getting now. Listen to all that fancy brushwork. I don't know if I wanted that loud, but let's see how we blend it with the original snare. So now what I'm doing is I just brought down that parallel snare. Listen with it on. Turn it off. It's really nice. So it's a nice little trick. So what we've done is we've brought out some of that softer stuff because we're compressing the peaks of the main hits. So those are pushed down, allowing all the little subtle brush stuff to come up. Let's see how it affects the verse here. Take it off. It's helping there too. So there you go. What I would now do is quickly flip to the kick. Which has wonderful separation because they're playing quietly and it's not like a big, huge rock song. I don't have to do much to it. We could put a gate on it, but in this instance, I'm going to at least start with not gating it. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is actually grab an EQ. So I'm going to go for the 7-band stock EQ. And if you've watched me before, you know what I'm going to do. I'm going to go to about 60-ish, sometimes 50. These EQ points are very dictated by old classic equipment. A lot of people boost 50 because that's where the API was. They boost 63 because that was a common Neve frequency. So if you're wondering why those come up a lot, that's the reason why. Okay, so I'm going to boost this and have a listen. But I'm also going to high pass and just focus that low end. Let's pull out a little bit of our classic low mids, about 350, just for the heck of it. Bypass. So the kick is very shelved around about 100. And the problem with 100 is like that's where I like the bass guitar to live. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to swap this 340 out here. I'm going to make it 100. I'm going to tighten it. So I'm pulling out about 100 quite dramatically because that's really where the kick is living, about 125. Now let's go here and pull out some more low mids at 350. And go and listen to that. Nice and focused. Might be nice now just to quickly drop in the bass and have a listen. Oh, 5-string. So you can see it goes super, super low there. So what I've decided to do is I'm going to look back at a previous take, because we did quite a few of these. I'm going to grab a kick drum and I'm going to use it against this kick drum. So let's create a new track. We'll call this kick sample. And this is the kick itself. Just one hit, and we're going to paste it and drop it against here, just to give us some interesting control. So I'm actually going to copy and paste this over the whole song. It won't take more than a couple of minutes. I'll have to check the phase afterwards. So we'll rename this Kick Live Sample Final. And let's check the polarity, the phase. The phase is good. Pretty darn good. Okay. So that's a nice little trick to put a sample of itself against it. And in this instance, it was really useful because we had a couple of performances. We had like 3 or 4 performances we just ran in a row. So what does that do? Well, it allows us to get a nice clean kick with no bleed. Not that that's too much of an issue, but with, without, back with. So it allows me a bit more control, but it also gives me this. If I now want to gate the kick, I can send it from this sample of itself, which is going to be super, super clean. Nice little trick. Off. On. Really nice. Now, let's see what it does to the chorus, because we have that more sustained kick. So let's bring back the release a little bit, make it a little longer. One of the tricks that many, many people do, and this is a nice little trick, is to take this, whatever's triggering a gate, say duplicate it down here. It's just a little extra trick. Grabbing all of these and moving it forward. So it opens just a little bit earlier and allows that transient to be a little cleaner. So now what I'm going to do is I am turning this off, I'm only sending from the one that I've moved forward. So I'm going to turn the output to a couple of buses that I'm not using. So it still sends, but it's not sending anywhere. Now let's have a listen. Like that. So the reason why I added the gate was actually because of the bass, because the sustain of the chorus kick was really, really nice, but it was a little bit too much. Great. So now I've got to a place where I really like it. I've got the hold a little bit longer here, the release is much longer, and it's just allowing that kick. Just use your ears till it sounds good, just to sustain just enough. There's a little bit of a cutoff that's audible in solo on that kick, but you're not going to hear in a track. Okay, now what I want to do is take these two moments of the kick and send them to one auxiliary. Great. And I am now going to grab a little bit of EQ here and exaggerate the already existing EQ that we have. So I selected the 7-band EQ for those two moments together. And you guessed it, I'm going to boost the same EQ points again. High passing again, boosting quite dramatically. Going to select about 100 again, pull that out, go to 350 here, pull some of that out. So what I've decided to do is I'm going to use more of the low end from this one, this top kick, and more of the high end from the sample. So this, remember, this is a sample of itself. So I'm actually going to get the 7-band, and I am going to grab this all the way up to like 2 or 3K, and then boost it really wide around there. So now this kick has now become my knocking sound. It also means the low end is going to be really, really nice because they're separated. One is only low end and one is going to be a ton of high end. It's nice. Ooh, I like that. See what it's doing in the first verse. I mean, there's some extraneous pedal noises and stuff like that, but I don't mind. So that's kind of fun, what we've done there with the kick. Let's go to our snare. Sounds pretty cool. So I'm going to create an auxiliary just for the snare drum. Grabbing the compressor. Let's go and grab an EQ. Going to go pretty traditional here. Go to about 120 on the snare, boost that. Brighten that quite dramatically. Right, hearing this together now, I want to add some compression to the kick. Again, stay stock. Not a lot going on, but just enough. Brought up the gain output as well, just to give it a little bit more oomph. Okay, let's create a little verb for the snare, just a tiny amount. Make it really small though. Small room at half a second. So listening to it, I want to get a bit more even compression on the kick drum. So I'm actually going to copy that compressor down. So we're now going to use serial compression, 2 in a row. Let's bring up that threshold for the minute. Okay, I like that. Now, what that's doing is it's compressing heavier in the chorus than it is in the verse. So it means that we've reduced the dynamic range a little bit, but also been able to boost the low end and the thickness of the kick. So generally all over, it's a little bit more on the 60, a little less in the 125 area, which is starting to get a little bit old, to be honest. Let's throw in the overheads. Take them out. Go to the chorus, have a listen. I like it. I'm going to bus those together. So we'll create a stereo. The reason why I'm going to do that is because I want to apply the same EQ on both of the overheads. And I am going to grab an EQ before a compressor. First thing I'm going to do is high pass. I don't need the low end. I don't want slightly out of phase, not correct, time alignment with the kick. So I'm pulling it out above 200. Boosted some high end there just to add some ambience of the overall feel of it. I'm very tempted to create a fake drum sound. So what I would do with that is I would now go to the kick sub and send out of 9 and 10, and the snare sub and send out of 9 and 10 as well. Notice if you're in Pro Tools, I'm hitting Option and then clicking on the fader and it goes to 0. And then the same thing with the overheads, 9 and 10. And I'm now going to create a stereo sub, which of course is being input on, you guessed it, 9 and 10. And we're going to call this is what I would call a fake room. And this is something different to the snare reverb because I want individual control of that. I may or may not turn it up in sections. So what I'm going to do is just grab a reverb now, a stock one, go to medium, I don't know, room, just under a second, and see what I have. Okay, first thing I want to do is get rid of some of that lows. I don't need that going through there. It's just going to mess with the polarity, and I'm going to get a clean kick. Single band, and I'm going to go and high pass it, I don't know, somewhere around about here, smoothly. So 484. Like it. I like what we've got so far. So the low end is clean now. It's not feeding into reverbs. There's only one source of ultra lows of the two kick elements. The one that I created is the clickiness, and the natural recorded one is all the low end. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to take all of these elements that are bus, like the kick sub, snare reverb, overhead sub, and fake room, and make them all go to one sub. You'll notice that Simon, when he plays that kick on the first one there, doesn't quite articulate it. He still plays it short. these are better. So I'm actually going to copy and paste this to here. Now have a listen. So much better. Here's the before. It's like, boom, boom. So now if I put this back in, have a listen. Great on the downbeat of the kick. Subtle things like that are things that you should be looking for. Like, oh, that didn't feel right. Oh, it's because he played the kick too short on the downbeat. It might be like that on every chorus. Let's have a listen. Let's go to the next chorus. Yep. So it's like that on the next chorus. So we're going to copy that one across. And the last chorus. Nope. Last chorus was great. So it's just those first two. Okie dokie. So now we have an all drum mix. Great. So let's do a couple of things. Let's grab a global compressor on that. And you know what I'm going to do now? I'm now going to take that group and duplicate it. So with the compressor and everything on it. So we'll call this drum sub all because it's a duplicate of it. But what else are we going to add? Crush. So let's have a listen to this. Oh, yeah. Out, in, a little less of that fake room, a little less of that snare reverb. Cool, come to life, really like it. Okay, let's throw in the bass. Still gonna bring these reverbs down more now that I'm listening with everything in.
That she hears this, does she know you were fearless? You jumped right in.
Shorten the reverb a little bit.
When did she make you so scared? Someone better come along.
It's better?
I'll be waiting. Someone better.
Cool. Loving it. Okay, so the bass is great. It's a really amazing performance. Jamie's an incredible bass player. Really, really wonderful. But I do want to control it a little bit. So a lot of the tricks I'm going to do, you know very well if you've been watching me. So I'm going to duplicate it. Take the first one and make it only low end. We're going to grab an EQ. We'll take like 20 hertz and roll that off. And then do the opposite. Believe it or not, I'm going to come right down here. So I'm low passing, meaning I'm letting the low stuff pass through, say up to about 200-ish, say 190. There's a little bit of, notes blowing up there. So the next thing we do is grab a compressor. So you can see it's just grabbing there on the stuff that's like super loud. And that's really kind of tasteful. So now I'm going to grab and just copy this down. So I'm now bringing that EQ, but I'm going to do the opposite. So you see where here I'm about 190. I'm actually going to do the opposite. I'm going to wipe off about 200-ish. And then now I have a top end. I'm also going to copy down the compressor. So now those two will give me a bass sound. I've got low, controllable low end from the original, and then I duplicate it and I've got controllable high end. So let's make that a bass group. So we'll call that bass. So let's bus those two together. So we'll go to bus 13, create its own mono auxiliary for the bass. So this is an auxiliary, a bus, a subgroup, whatever you want to call it. We'll do an overall EQ. So now we've got the EQ, actually engaging some high passing, which I'm going to take up as high as 60. And then a little bit of 100-ish for a boost where we cut from the kick. Okay, let's have a listen to that. So I've made the slope more effective now on the low end. So that's a high passing a little bit more aggressively. And I'm going to grab a compressor. So those big low notes that were blowing up aren't blowing up quite as much. They're still doing a little bit, but not as massively as before. Creating a group here of drums, all. Going to listen to that with the bass. Let's see now what we've got with the bass and the drums together with our new settings on the bass. So what did I do? I just took the high end part of the bass and kind of gave it more mid-range and a little bit more bite across the top there, just to get that bass to cut a little bit more. I want to do serial compression on the bass as well. I want to double compress it just to kind of get it a little bit more in there. So what I did there is on the bass sub, the elements combined together is I cut a little bit of the high end because I don't really need it. So I'm low passing, quite not massively aggressively, but definitely boosting around about the high mids here, but making sure there's like stuff that stays out of the way of the vocal and of course any high end that we got from the drums and the overheads, etc. Again, boosting high mids, you wouldn't expect that on the bass, but I'm trying to get some of that articulation out of it. I find myself with bass reaching for limiting quite often. So what we're going to do now is go 100-to-1 ratio. Much better. So sometimes you just have to limit. He's doing all those beautiful little lines and I want to pick them up. I want to be able to hear them. So let's bring down a little bit of that high-end boost. Now we're limiting, it's getting a little excessive. Nice. Really tempted on that kick to do the same thing. So, you know, the serial compression, serial limiting is very, very useful. So now we're going to use that on the limit again. So here's the ratio, set to 101. Love it. All right, let's hear Mary's guitar. So Mary's playing this guitar, not just this model, but this actual guitar. So I'm going to mess with it a bit and see if we can get a tone that we like. I love this guitar. I use it all the time. We got it after the Thomann event because it's so freaking awesome. So let's see what we can do. Okay, so I've tried 11 on it, which is the free Pro Tools plugin. Let's have a quick listen. This is the before. Just the DI sound. Let's put 11 on. It's taking out some of that mid-range, which is actually quite nice. I think I like that. I'm trying to keep this completely and utterly in the box. Free plugins, comes with the DAW. So everything so far has been stock. This is the 11 Lite. It's the free one that comes with the DAW. So I'm going to stick to it. Let's go for a little bit of compression here. It's a little dirty, probably a little dirtier than Mary normally would go for. But you know, I'm a more of a rock guy, so let's see if she likes it. I'm going to put a gate at the beginning of all of this now, before we do anything, before we even go into 11. So I'm going to grab a gate because there's a little bit of you can hear a little bit of noise that's in there. It's subtle, but I'm hearing it, and you probably are as well. There's actually quite a lot of different stuff going on. So let's go in and remove that noise from a lot of different things. Could have been ambient noise. I mean, we were in a place with some lights, you know, for shooting the video. So there could have been all kinds of things that were causing problems. So we're going to do that same thing that we did before, which means we're going to take Mary's track, her guitar track, and I'm going to duplicate it, the playlist. And I'm actually going to move it forward ever so slightly, the duplicate. Now we've moved that track ever so slightly forward. We're keying that, sending that to the key input here, making sure that it's the sidechain key is being listened to. And that gives us the ability to just open the gate a nanosecond before the original track would allow us. It's a really nice way of setting a look-ahead gate. Now it is already indicated, but it still was just chopping off the front of that transient. So this is our little cheat. Now I like the brightness, but it's a little, just a little bit not quite there. So between the 11 light and the compressor, I'm actually going to grab a stock de-esser. And here it is. And that's just getting rid of some of that little tiny kind of gritty area that I don't want to hear. If we listen to it. Now, what I want to do is create a little bit more spatial stuff on a guitar. So I'm creating a stereo auxiliary. So we'll pan that slightly over, say 50% to the right. So she's panned, her live guitar is panned 50% to the left. Her effects on the guitar are going to be 50% to the right. Okay, let's grab a compressor first and then a reverb to control what the reverb does. Now we can go like a small room, I don't know, again, pretty short. We'll go, I don't know, 500 or 600 milliseconds. Great. Okay. First thing I want to do with Mary's voice is just put a light amount of EQ on it. So we'll just grab, you guessed it, the stock EQ. And so first thing I'm going to do is just wipe off some low end that we don't need. So I'm going up to about 100 and wiping it off. I'm going to add a little bit of air, but what I might do first is this. So I've actually pulled that one EQ down. I'm going to grab another one. I'm going to go for a one band and just high pass. Again, about 100. And then before I do anything else, I'm going to use a de-esser. So de-esser is going to come in earlier.
That she hears this, does she know you were feeling? That she hears this, does she know? Cool.
That de-esser, you know, came in about 7K. I mean, I might want to hear 5K as well. But this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to actually add some more 7K to the overall sound now that I've tamed it, but I'm doing that after the de-esser. So let's go, let's widen the cue, do some boost. There you go, some air on the top.
That she hears this, does she know?
I like to boost EQ and then de-ess afterwards. I'm making the overall vocal brighter, but I'm not bringing up S's and T's that could rip your head off. So a de-ess first, then boost EQ, and then I might de-ess again. So now what we've done is we've rolled us some low end, we boosted some high end, and I'm just going to grab, actually next I'm going to grab a stock compressor. How many times can I say stock in one video? It could be a drinking game. Stock compressor.
that she hears this? Does she know you were fearless? You jumped right in, met me there.
Now, we talked about using compression before and about how, you know, areas like this where she's singing really quietly on this second phrase
Overshare.
is not hitting the compressor at all, but this line here is.
Some might say I overshare.
So we can use serial compression. So now what we can do is actually grab another compressor afterwards. So I've actually duplicated the compression.
Some might say I overshare, like a winter love affair. Some might say I overshare.
Now what's happening is like all of those lines have the same kind of intensity. Have a listen in the track.
Some might say I overshare, like a winter.
Listen to it without the backgrounds.
Some might say I overshare, like a winter love affair. I was excited, I was wrong. Did you know it wouldn't last long? Someone better come along. I'll be waiting.
Okay, with this vocal, I want to add another compressor, believe it or not. It's like serial compression is a big deal. We're all using the same, you guessed it, stock compressor, but the thing is about it is like, I want that vocal not to disappear. Now, I can do volume automation, definitely, and that is a big possibility. But what we're doing here is teaching how serial compression can work.
Some might say I overshare.
All right, that's perfect now. That's really good, but that some might say, that's getting a little aggressive. So let's take another de-esser and put it in here.
Some might say I overshare.
There you go.
Like a winter love affair. I was excited, I was wrong. Did you know it wouldn't last long?
Great. So I love the way vocals sounding. Let's have some fun with it. I personally want to do a couple of things. I feel like there's some slap on this that could really be nice, but I think now I might do that on the guitar. So I'm going to put a mono delay on it. And next, we're going to grab a, yes, what kind of delay are we going to get? Eric, what kind of delay are we going to get?
Stock delay.
A stock delay. Okay, so let's get down to, I don't know, about 60 milliseconds. It looks like this one goes, you know what, if I sync the tempo, (130), 87. Yeah, we can go a little slower. Okay, I'm on 52 milliseconds. Great, okay, that's livening it up for me. Now, let's create a couple of effects tracks for the vocals. So let's do a short verb. So guess what kind of verb I'm going to use? What kind of verb am I going to use?
Stock reverb.
A stock reverb. First of all, I'm going to use a stock compressor going into the stock reverb because I want this to be pretty smooth. So let's go to a, I don't know, a short-ish reverb. We're actually we'll stay with the second. And I'm going to hit on Pro Tools this little red button there. That little red button keeps the plug-in so I can see it. And now when I go to the compressor, dun, 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 both of the plugins are visible. Okay, I'm going to solo so we can hear the vocal reverb with the vocal.
That she hears this, does she know you were fearless? You jumped right in, met me there. When did she make you so scared? You, me, her, running back and forth, the rules all her. Who came off worse? She drove me insane. You drove me insane. Someone
I heard a cymbal. The drummer played a cymbal.
drove me insane.
Very softly.
Drove me insane. Drove me insane.
Is stretch that cymbal out and go in there for some volume automation and turn the cymbal up.
Someone better come along. I'll be waiting.
We've got to set that gate properly there. It's turning off too easily. Watch and listen. You'll see that it's coming on too easily. So there. There you go. Now it should come in on this silent part here. Great. Okay, that's that solved.
Same. Someone better come along. I'll be waiting. Someone better worthy of a song. I guess I should end this one.
Okay. I can hear that little buzz. Let's find out where that's coming from. Is that in the drum mics? A little bit, so let's get rid of those in the drum mics. See that? We don't need that excessiveness there, so we can.
Guess I should end this one.
Okay, so what else do we want to do on this vocal? Let's add a delay. Actually, I'm going to create two delays, but this time we're going to do the reverse. We're going to put the delay on first. Okay. Stereo delay. Why don't we have some fun? See what they got.
That she is this, does she know you were fearless? You jumped right in, met me there. When did she make you so scared? Someone better come along. I'll be waiting. Someone better worthy of a song. Ooh, someone better.
Okay, so that's quite silly. You know, we've got two different delays going, all very silly indeed. However, what happens if we do this? We'll put a compressor, not before, but afterwards, like such. Create a key input, which can also be 19 or 20. What? Say it ain't so. Yes, because we're going to send the vocal to it. So every time Mary stops singing, the compressor stops compressing. So it's compressing when she's singing. Listen to this.
I secretly hope that she hears this. Does she know you were fearless? You jumped right in, met me there. When did she make you so scared? Someone better come along.
So that's a dynamic delay. Now there are dynamic delay plugins that you can actually buy or might even be in your stock collection of DAW plugins, but this one I just quickly created.
Some might say I overshare like a winter love affair. I was excited, I was wrong. Did you know it wouldn't last long? Someone better come along.
So I'm going to shorten these delays. So I'm going to make this one 260 and that 521, just so they're a little tighter.
Some might say I overshare like a winter lover excited. I was wrong. Did you know it wouldn't last long? Someone better, better come along. I'll be waiting. Someone better, worthy of a song. I guess I should end this one. I secretly hope that she hears this. Does she know you were fearless?
Now, where there's no guitar, the effects seem a little bit too loud. So we're going to bring those down, as much as I love them, in that section. So I'm bringing down the verb and I'm bringing down the delays. Let's have a listen here.
I secretly hope that she hears this. Does she know you were fearless? You jumped right in, met me there. When did she make you so scared?
Great. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to bus these backgrounds together. So 21, 22. Create a stereo auxiliary. I'm going to pan one, maybe 20% left and one 20% right, roughly speaking. We will apply a little bit of compression on both of these.
Someone better, come along. Ooh, be waiting. Someone better, worthy of a song.
That line's super quiet, so I'm actually going to clip gain it up. Let's go in and put an EQ on first then, and get rid of some of that hum. We could probably go up as much as, like 200-ish.
Someone better, come along. Ooh.
Yep. Copy that down onto the other one.
Someone better, come along.
Okay, so I'm actually making both of those background vocals identical compression and identical EQ.
Someone better, come along. Ooh. I'll be waiting. Someone better, worthy of a song. I guess I should end this one.
Okay, so they've both been compressed and they're both going into a bus. So let's do a little compression on those as well. So I'm going to go to a section where they're both singing at the same time, both the backgrounds.
Someone better, worthy of a song. Someone better, worthy of a song. Someone better, worthy of a song.
Nice. I like the randomness of her vocals. I really hope that Mary enjoys maybe me overusing the backgrounds. It gives it, I don't know, gives it something really unique. Okay. Okay, so I got the background bus. I'm now going to duplicate that. Why am I duplicating it? Well, because I'm going to use it for reverb. And quite often we just duplicate something to get other buses, and it saves me having to create a new one, strangely enough. So I'm changing the input to 23, 24. I'm coming off of the main background bus, and already have a compressor set up, and I'm going to grab a double whammy. I'm going to grab a delay first, and we'll do something. Why don't we do some sort of shorter delays? So we'll do on one side, we'll do 130, and the other side we'll do 260. So shorter delays, basically 8th and 16th notes.
Someone better, worthy of a song. Someone better, worthy of a song. Someone better, worthy of a song.
Now, I don't want the delays to be quite so high fidelity. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually, because I don't want to hear somewhere. I don't want to hear the S's and the T's flying around, which are obviously bright and are going to get in the way. So I'm going to grab an EQ, and a 1-band will do, because I'm actually going to low pass it. So we'll go up to like, I don't know, let's say 3K.
Someone better worthy of a song.
So now the delays are a little bit more, they're warmer, fatter, more tape-like, if you like. So still not there. Now I'm going to grab a reverb. And we'll do a review on this in a second. And the reverb can be, I don't know, a couple of seconds. It can be a room. Yeah, let's make it a room at like a couple of seconds. But the secret is we're going to bring the dry up. So it's only going to be 26% wet. So what have we done? We've compressed going in, we've wiped off the top end, and then we've got into a delay, 1/8 note, 1/16 note, and then we put a reverb after it. And now we get this.
Someone better worthy of a song. Someone better than this one.
So it's a delayed reverb. It's a delay going into a reverb, not a delayed reverb. Have a listen to this.
Someone better come along. I'll be waiting. Someone better worthy of a song. I guess I should end this one. I secretly hope that she hears this. Does she know you were fearless? You jumped right in, met me there. When did she make you so scared? Someone better come along. I'll be waiting. Someone better worthy of a song. Ooh. I'll be waiting. Someone better worthy of a song. Ooh, someone better come along. I'll be waiting. Someone better worthy of a song. It must have driven her insane to see you happier. When did I sign up for this game?
So very, very simple amount of instruments. We've got kick, snare, overheads. We've got a bass DI. We've got a guitar DI. And we've got a vocal mic. And I think it's come out pretty interesting. Once again, as for the 59 billionth time, it's all stock plugins. We haven't done anything yet on a master bus. I'm going to get to that now. So let's go and create stereo master bus. Let's go to a loud part of the song.
Ooh, someone better come along. I'll be waiting. Someone better worthy of a song. Someone better.
That was a nice little bass line there. You know, this is the kind of stuff that really makes the end of a mix, you know, when you can... So just grabbing that little piece here. Great line. And it's in pretty much in the middle of nowhere from the vocal. So we're just going to push that like nearly 2 dB. Have a listen.
Of a song. Someone better come.
Those kind of things make mixes. You go in there, you find elements, you push them up just to keep your interest going. You know, that's what I love when I listen to a mix. It just gets me excited to hear like little moments like that. And Jamie's a great bass player. Okay, so let's grab a little bit of compression. Now that extra noise on the front, you know, whether the gate gets it or not, we don't need it. So I'm just going to get rid of it. Here. Great. So we'll get to the loud part of the song again.
Better worthy of a song. Someone better come along. I'll be waiting. Someone better worthy of a song. I guess.
So gentle, hardly any compression on that. Checking that first chorus.
Someone better come along. I'll be waiting. Someone better work.
Okay, now we're getting at about 1.5 dB of gain reduction, which is pretty tasty. Now, I'm going to go in and grab a EQ for the whole thing. So this is across the whole master. I'm now going to put a tiny bit of high pass, so a little bit of low frequency roll off. I'm going to go in and we'll go to 60 here. Do the tiniest bump. I'm going to narrow that. Oh, go to the Q there, so we're selecting this one. Okay, so just a tiny little bump there.
Someone better come along.
And then we'll go at like, let's say 12K. We'll just do a little bit of a lift there. And we can make that a nice gentle slope.
Someone better come along. I'll be waiting. Someone better worthy of a song. I guess I should end this one.
Great, really loving this. Great work, Mary. Great work, Simon. Great work, Jamie. Really, really nice. Okay, so now we're going to go to limit on this next one, but we're barely going to do anything. So we'll go up to the full ratio to the full right-hand side here. We'll go to a loud portion.
Someone better come along. I'll be waiting. Someone better worthy of a song. I guess I should end this one.
So it's very, very occasionally touching it.
I'll be waiting. Someone better worthy of a song.
So I'm really enjoying this, but I want to get a bit more definition out of the bass. We've got so few instruments in here, I really need the bass to shine. So I'm going to wipe out a little bit more low end out of the guitar, just a shade. So I'm actually just going to high pass. So I'm making more room here for the bass. I'm shaving down the kick. The kick got massive with that extra 60 boost. Everything got a lot of fun. It was really blowing everything up. So shave down a bit, a little less boost on the 60, a little bit more boost on about 100 on the bass. And let's just see if we've got a little bit more action going on between the two of them.
Someone better worthy of a song. It must have driven her insane to see you happier.
Okay, so a couple of things I'm noticing. On the overheads, for instance, there's other fun things happening. There's no mic on that hat and all of that fun stuff there. So let's take the overheads and give them some compression. So what we're doing is we're compressing those snare hits. Which allows the hats to come up. Take it off. Back on.
Angular. You, me, her, running back and forth. The rules all hurt. Who came off worse? She drove me insane. You drove me insane.
There's so much melody going on with Jamie's bass that I really want to bring this out as much as possible.
I'll be waiting, someone better, worthy of a song. Someone better, come along. I'll be waiting, someone better, worthy of a song. I guess I should end this one.
Okay, so I'm going to listen from the top.
Some might say I overshare, like a winter love affair. I was excited, I was wrong. Did you know it wouldn't last long? Someone better, come along. I'll be waiting, someone better, worthy of a song. I guess I should end this one. Secretly hope that she hears this. Does she know you were fearless? You jumped right in, met me there. When did she make you so scared? Someone better, come along. I'll be waiting, someone better, worthy of a song. Ooh, someone better, come along. I'll be waiting, someone better, worthy of a song. It must have driven her insane to see you happier. When did I sign up for this game? So triangular. You, me, her, running back and forth. The rules all hurt. Who came off worse? She drove me insane. You drove me insane. Someone better, come along. I'll be waiting, someone better, worthy of a song. Ooh, someone better, come along. I'll be waiting, someone better, worthy of a song. Someone better, come along. I'll be waiting, someone better, worthy of a song. I guess I should end this one.
Using only stock plugins in real time, there's a mix. Of course, you can download the tracks. Thank you ever so much, Mary Spender, Simon for playing amazing drums from Thomann, and of course, the wonderful Mr. Jamie Lewis. You can check out all of their channels below. Simon has the Thomann drum channel. Mary's channel, of course, is fantastic, which is here. And, of course, there's the wonderful Jamie Lewis's amazing bass channel. They're three very wonderful people. Thank you ever so much for letting me be a part of it. Download the multi-tracks, have a mix on yourself, have a marvellous time recording and mixing. Don't forget to like, subscribe, all that kind of good stuff. Go to producelikeapro.com, sign up for the email list, you name it, everything. Have a marvellous time recording and mixing.